These things have always been crap because these things don't work on this car even though it says they will. Even more reason why I say that OBD1 versus OBD2 conflict. This shows the Firebird and the Camaro ceased to be covered by this reader, this OBD1 reader, in 93. Because they're 94s, the only thing covered is a Pontiac Sunbird, and then Chevy, the Camaro's not on there either. Even though in here, vehicles covered, 1994 Pontiac Firebird 5.7 liter. It should be covered. That's why I've been fighting this for years. That's why I again wasted $29 to get this worthless thing for my specific car. Alright, hey guys, what is up? It's Biff and you're watching Fearless Mods. Thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and click the subscribe button down there. Give us a like. Today we are going to be doing a little something for the F-Body Firebird Trans Am that has an OBD1 style connector for diagnostics under the dash, and I've got an OBD2 style reader right here, and I want to be able to use this adapter and this reader to be able to read the codes from my OBD1 system / advanced pre-OBD2, whatever the heck they are. There's so many things out there on the internet you can read about this. I'm not 100% convinced one way or the other, but bottom line, it's got an OBD1 connector that might have some limited OBD2 functionality, but none of it is going to work with this thing here unless I can use this to feed some power into one of these teeth. As you saw where we had the snap-on diagnostic connector that went on the OBD1 system, it connected to a serial port that went to the snap-on handheld unit, but it had a little power plug that went in the side of it and attached to a positive on the battery. That's what we're going to do here, is effectively insert some 12 volt power from the car through the cigarette lighter into this sensor here so it can power the reader. There are plenty of resources online that you can research to look this up, but the main thing I did was pull a 94 service manual so I could see without a doubt what the pinouts were for that OBD1 connector. I found representative OBD2 female connectors and ran out of toner. So I know which one that I need to feed the power into, and there's another one without toner, so fantastic. But the bottom line is we're gonna take that, feed that power into that one end and not let it back route into the car. And hopefully that'll allow us to see what information we're able to pull from there. It's not going to store a lot of information like a typical OBD2 system. In fact, when I looked at Snap-on's website for that specific diagnostic tool that we were using, it made it look like it doesn't even work on the 94 Trans Am because there's no functionality there. I know that's not true because we got a lot of data from it that you saw. So a lot of the real-time car data, so I'm hoping I'll be able to do the same thing here. If you look at the 94 Chevrolet Camaro, same model year, same LT1 engine, same F-body, it has functionality that exists for these fancier diagnostic tools. So I'm hopeful. We're going to give it a try. If not, you guys have given a lot of good comments down below. I'm telling you what, man, you've been really hitting it up on the Trans Am, and I appreciate it. Lately, I just got, very timely in fact, some inputs on some software that you can get for a PC and a different harness that you can use so that you can do essentially what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to see if I can do it the poor man's way before I go the route of paying money to buy some software and a computer program. So this is going to be kind of boring, but let's go ahead and get our X-Acto knife and our electrical tape and start digging into this thing. Looking at this, you've got your OBD2 connector and you've got your OBD1 connector. This particular diagram here shows the OBD2 female connector pinout front view, and then the male connector pinout. If you don't understand the difference between a male and a female plug, I don't know what to tell you, but suffice to say, this one's male, this one's female. Alright, so looking at the female connector here, which is my OBD2 one, from the front view, this bottom right one is going to be the power port, number 16, red is battery power plus 12 volt. So on an OBD2 system, that would be feeding power into your diagnostic tool. This one, on the other hand, has 4 connectors coming out of my car. This one is a female depiction, this is the male depiction, so this would plug into that. And so A to A, this one right here would be ground. The one right next to it is the field service enabled, so those are the 2 that you would stick a paper clip into in your car to go ahead and put it into a diagnostic mode where you count the service engine soon light from flashing, or the check engine light. None of the other top ones are used, just those top 2 right ones. The bottom row, both of the outside ones are used. So I've got this bottom right one here that is used for serial data, so that's where it's getting its data. And then this bottom left one is for the, it says it's to the keyless entry system. There's not a whole lot going on in here. So that one serial data port is where we should be getting the majority of our information. Also, there's a ground, there's not a power on this, and we need power to our diagnostic tool. So we're gonna get it from right here. I just bought a corded cigarette lighter power setup. And in fact, this one doesn't even have anything on the end, it just has bare wires. The positive is coming in through here, and the negative is grounded out here on the side. So I'm only gonna need the wire that goes to the tip, so I can provide the 12 volt signal straight into it, the 12 volt power. It'll get its ground elsewhere throughout this. One of the options is I could get myself some kind of an alligator clip and put it on that single wire. And then, you know, you can just run this from the engine bay into the car here where this pigtail's in like this, and then you're all set. But that's why I went with this, so I can just plug it into the car. So I may be able to eliminate some of this wire. I don't need 8 feet or whatever that is when I could just get by with 2 or 3 feet. So the fun part here is going to be cutting this back and figuring out which wire is coming here. And what I'll do is I'll probably just remove a section here so that I can reveal the wires, and then I can just do little continuity checks between them and try to find the right one. Then I'm going to snip it so that it's not running into any of these, because I don't want power running into any of these ports, even though they may not go to anything. I just don't want that happening. Just make it where it completely just powers this plug only. So it's been a long time since I bought this, but I'm guessing I bought it as a GM adapter because it's only got the 4 wires. If that's the case, that means I may not have a connector in here. Nope, it's got a connector. I just may not have a wire connected to it. So that does me no good. I don't need any of these wires. I need to be able to get into here and tap into this port, and there's not a wire going into this solid connector here. I could possibly try to drill a hole back here in the back and see if what the back side of that looks like, if I can access it. If I drill a hole here, I could maybe feed the wire in straight through there and solder it to the back of that post. So that's a possibility. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and drill this, just to see what it looks like in there. I am going to see if I can just kind of drill right into that corner. That could be interesting. Well, I stopped drilling and I've actually hit metal right there directly behind that plug. So I'm going to do a continuity check on that. It's possible that I might be able to just solder right to that point and have my connection. Bada bing. Wow. That's great. So there we go. This is, we're still in business. Essentially, the plan will be to get that down in there and just solder it straight in, and then this can be laid back here and taped up so that it doesn't sit there and tug on it. And it's far enough back that's outside of this recessed area, so our diagnostic tool should fit on it unimpeded, unless I got a pin that's messed up. Oh, hello. Hello, Mr. Bent Down Pin. What are you doing down there? So that'll fit right in there. This wire right here. Be good to go. Okay. That's the second one. So that's the problem we gotta watch out for. Gotta touch that one, but not this one. We are connected. But there's that other, well actually it would be, yeah, it'd be on this side of the hole. There's another silver piece down in there. I'll move it around a little and see if there's any chance of you seeing it. But I didn't want to attach to that one. I only wanted to attach to the other one that was on this side, because those are these two prongs. So what I'm going to do now is just do a couple continuity checks on there. There we go. We got continuity from the tip into our number 16 position. Now what I want to do is just make sure that we don't also have continuity to any of the ones next to it. It's there, but it's not here. There we go. That's good. And we didn't go down to the bottom. We're going to call that a success. Cover this all up good. I might even put a little silicone in there. So this is all dried up. I went and got some electrical tape, got some epoxy here. Well, first thing is I'll tape this back on here, tape up these wires. Then I'm going to zip tie this down here at the base to give it a little bit of strain relief, so there's nothing tugging on this. And then I'm going to put epoxy on here to coat everything from that zip tie back to here, just so that this stays. Now we're zip tied on, so this isn't going to pull that out. Now I just need to put some epoxy in there so that nothing else snags this and pulls it out. Alright, so the epoxy is on there. It looks good. Filling in all the gaps on both sides and completely over the wire and over the silicone. So now we will let that dry up, and it should be ready to use. Alright guys, what's up? We're back at it, and we have got our new connector. So we've got the OBD2 connector that the reader will connect into. It's got the epoxy in here where I went in and soldered it, and the zip tie, so this thing's on here good. And so essentially this is the GM adapter that will go between my OBD1 port to the OBD2 reader, and then we've got this cord here so we can plug in to the lighter and give it power. I just want to look and see if this thing works. So let's see how our project went here and if it's successful. Okay, let's see how this works out here. Put our adapter into the OBD1 port down here, and then we will attach it to our OBD2 reader. That's interesting. The door locks did a little how you doing there. So nothing with the key off or on, but now it's like the fuel pump's just running nonstop. So now I'm going to put some power. Now I'm going to put some power into it, and now we have power here. It says it's linking to the vehicle, waiting for vehicle to respond. I've got the key off, so most likely it's not going to do anything until I turn the key on. Please respond. Wow, that is so bizarre. Looks like it's loading. It says it's still waiting for vehicle to respond, but it is progressing along. That's crazy how it was. There it goes again. Kicking the fans on and off. It's still progressing. Still says linking to vehicle. So that's 3 cycles of the fans. Okay, failed to connect. Verify that the ignition is on. Check if the scan tool's OBD2 connector is securely connected to the vehicle's DLC. Verify that the vehicle is OBD2 compliant. Turn the ignition off and wait for about 10 seconds and turn the ignition back on. So that is obviously secure. This is secure. We are in our power port. obviously, because we're powering this, but it doesn't like reading this system. Probably because this is only an OBD2 reader. I was so hopeful too. Okay, so clearly it's not OBD2. Many of you have said that. So what I'm wondering is if I were able to get an OBD1 and OBD2 reader that had this style of connector, then I could plug in, have the power that it needs. But it's not liking it. It does go through all of its checks and it eventually loads up, but it never establishes a solid link with the vehicle. It just says waiting for it to respond. Clearly it's talking to the vehicle because it is cycling the fans. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is just utilize this. So I picked up the Innova 3140G. I think I had a different designation online, but I picked it up at AutoZone. A little more pricey than the Harbor Freight one, but it does OBD1 and 2 supposedly, so whereas the other one only does OBD2. I'm kind of curious. There are batteries in this here, 3 AAAs or 3 AA's, and so it does have a power source. So I'm kind of curious what this is going to do. It should power itself on, but let's see what happens here. We've got power on it. GM OBD1, it says. Turn ignition to the on position, turn accessories off. So it wants me to select my year, 1994, the 8th VIN. Papa, is this a truck? No. Enter the 4th VIN. Foxtrot. Transmission is not manual, so I'll put it on other. It says electronic spark timing, EST circuit, is open or shorted. So 1 of 8 it looks like. So let's see here. Electronic spark timing circuit, low voltage detected. Problems. Lean exhaust indicated, left side on dual oxygen models, which I have, so it's lean on the left side and rich on the left side. That's interesting. Computer problem, faulty, wrong, or incorrectly installed PROM circuit or ECM PCM failure. System voltage too high, over 17 volts to ECM EGR system fault, or alternator voltage not normal, or vehicle anti-theft system fault. Well, boy, that narrows it down. A fuel pump circuit fault, or mixture control solenoid fault, or electronic control module fault, EGR solenoid number 2 failure on a 3.8, which is not me, or fuel pump relay. Okay, those all seem to be working. I replaced the EGR, the fuel pump relay seems to be working. This is interesting that it says that the mixture control solenoid. And the last one it says is electronic ECM fault or oxygen sensor circuit fault or EGR solenoid failure on a 3.8, not me, or something for a Corvette. There are a lot of different things here. So I'd say that was certainly very informative. Wish I could have gotten that from my other one if it was capable of OBD1. Those little GM OBD1 readers that you get that plug straight in don't work on this. So that's why that led me down this long path of never being able to find a reader that would work until I spent over $200 to find one that would. So that's a travesty. Hopefully you believe me now when I tell you that this OBD1 tester right here does not work on my car. The difference between the 93 and the 94 is just some kind of a crossover that is making things extremely unfriendly when it comes to this whole OBD1, OBD2 crisis. Harbor Freight Syntec was a decent tester. But I needed to use the GM adapter that we then modified so that I could add power into it and actually power this unit, which has no batteries in it. That's what I was hoping was going to be the purpose of this video, was to show you that you could do that and save all kinds of money, and find an alternative for that cheap GM reader that doesn't work for this car. Unfortunately, it just doesn't quite do it. It powers the reader. It just does not quite communicate correctly with the car. Forward to option number 3, which ended up being the one we went with that gave us all the solutions we needed, an OBD1 and OBD2 reader with its own GM connector for OBD1 port and the serial connector between the two, and batteries installed so that it didn't require external power, you've got the solution that you saw was able to retrieve the vast amounts of data that the car has on board, even though it is kind of an antiquated system. The information is there, you just got to be able to get to it and retrieve it. Option number 1 does not do it for you. Option number 2, unfortunately, did not work for us to be able to get to it. So it was the expensive option number 3 that allowed us to do that. The reason I knew that all that information resided there was because of that snap-on tester that I did have on this a couple years ago. So go back and watch that video in the card above and take a look at that if you're interested. But there's a lot of information in there that these cars actually have that you just got to be able to get to it. They want to share it, you just got to be able to get to it. One thing I did do was I attempted to use the adapter with the new Innova. When I had it without the power cord plugged in, it did operate just like this adapter, but when I added the power to it, that's when things kind of got wonky and the fan started cycling just like they did with the Syntec. So I'm not 100% sure that if I had an OBD2 style connector on a reader that had OBD1 software in it, that it would necessarily work. But maybe there's some of you out there that are smarter than me that have found other solutions like this. If I could get that cheap solution to work, that's exactly what I would be wanting to do. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. We gave it a good try. So close to being able to come through with that and give you guys that cheap option. I don't have a PC. I only have a Mac, so that's why I can't use that PC software option. This Innova really did an amazing job. And so next what it will be is a matter of taking that information that we have and trying to get after the problem in here that's causing our miss so that we can get this baby straightened out once and for all. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm Biff, appreciate you, and you take care. We'll see you again real soon.